All right, strap yourselves in for a deep dive into darkness, because today we're headed back to Haddonfield
Yeah.
with Rob Zombie's Halloween the 2nd from 2009.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't just a sequel, though. This is a full-on descent into the trauma,
Yeah.
the aftermath for Laurie Strode, and really anyone in Michael Myers' path.
I think what's so fascinating about this film is how Zombie takes those like iconic slasher tropes. You know,
Yeah.
you got your masked killer, you've got the violence, all that, but he really infuses it with this chilling exploration of family,
Right.
madness, the nature of evil itself.
And he does really hold back right from that opening scene.
Yeah.
2 years after surviving Michael's rampage,
Right.
Laurie's just shattered. She's a shell of a person, plagued by these nightmares.
Yeah.
She's trying to find her footing with the brackets.
Yeah.
But she's just not all there.
And that's where Zombie's brilliance really shines through, I think. He doesn't just tell us, hey, Laurie's traumatized. He shows us, and he does it through these really fragmented, these disturbing dream sequences, you know? You get the flickering lights, the blood-soaked imagery, and it's just this visceral representation of her mental state completely fractured.
Oh, it's so effective.
Yeah.
As an audience, we are right back in that nightmare with her.
Totally.
And then you've got Michael, who we all assume is dead after the first film.
Right.
But like any good phantom, he kind of just disappears from that ambulance crash.
Right.
And it leaves this void, this unsettling void.
And I think that disappearance is key because it's almost as if he transcends the realm of just the purely physical, you know? He becomes this mythical force of nature. The way that Zombie introduces those haunting visions of his mother, Deborah, guiding him. She's dressed in white. She's leading a white horse. It's visual poetry.
Those images are totally burned into my mind. That white horse imagery, what do you make of that? It feels significant, right? It's like it's tapping into something primal.
It absolutely is. On the one hand, it can be interpreted as a symbol of innocence, which is such a stark contrast to what Michael represents.
Right.
But at the same time, there's this sense of unease, almost like it's a harbinger of doom. Because remember, white, that color white in mythology, isn't always pure.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Sometimes it represents ghosts, specters, things like that.
Which, I mean, talk about a perfect mirror for this film's central theme, that blurred line between sanity and madness.
Right.
It's not just Michael who's haunted by these images. Laurie's nightmares begin to mirror his. She's getting these visions of Deborah and a young Michael in a clown costume.
Yeah.
Why a clown, though?
Well, I mean, I think that's where Zombie's genius for tapping into our collective fears really comes through. Because clowns are supposed to be, you know,
They're supposed to be fun.
they're supposed to be fun, joyful, laughter.
Yeah.
But they've always had this undercurrent of something sinister, something lurking beneath the surface.
Oh, it's so true.
You know?
Because by associating Michael with this clown, he's amplifying that sense of unpredictable menace.
Totally.
And it's even more creepy when you think about how those visions start bleeding into Laurie's waking life. So the audience starts to question, like, what's real and what's not.
Right.
It's masterful manipulation of what we're seeing.
Absolutely. And that descent into darkness, that shared descent into darkness, isn't just confined to those two characters.
Right.
You've got Dr. Loomis, who's grappling with the public's response to his latest book about Michael.
Yeah.
He really embodies that exploitative side of our fascination with true crime.
It is interesting how Zombie portrays Loomis. Because on the one hand, he is this well-respected psychiatrist.
Right.
He wants to understand the root of Michael's evil.
Yeah.
But he's also capitalizing on this tragedy,
Right.
almost making himself a monster in the eyes of the public.
Yeah, and that duality is what makes Loomis such a compelling character, I think, because he represents that ethical tightrope we walk when we try to understand horrific acts. You know? At what point does seeking that understanding become its own form of exploitation? It's a question that lingers throughout the entire film. And just when you think we're really getting into the depths of Laurie's trauma,
Right.
Zombie throws this curveball that totally redefines the narrative.
He loves to do that.
The reveal that Laurie is actually Angel Myers, Michael's sister,
Ooh.
is a game changer.
Talk about a gut punch.
Right? Oh, yeah.
But it's not just a cheap shock value thing.
No, not at all.
Like, what it does is it adds this layer of inevitability to their connection.
Right.
Suddenly, it's not just about survival. It's about confronting this shared darkness.
Yeah.
This bond they have that's forged in blood.
Exactly. And it's almost, Shakespearean in its tragedy. These two characters, forever linked by this past they never chose, destined to play out this horrifying drama.
Yeah.
And Scout Taylor Compton deserves so much credit for the way she conveys Laurie's unraveling.
Absolutely.
So powerful.
You can see the fear, you can see the confusion in her eyes as this realization starts to sink in. It's like the ground is shifting beneath her.
Yeah.
And there's nowhere to go.
And as if that revelation wasn't enough,
Right.
Michael chooses this exact moment to reemerge.
Oh, yeah.
And just unleash carnage on Haddonfield.
I mean, talk about a Halloween party from hell.
Oh, it's slasher gold, that whole sequence.
Yeah.
But again, Zombie doesn't just rely on gore.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of it.
There's a lot.
But he builds tension so meticulously using these long, drawn-out shots as Michael is stalking his victims. And we know it's coming.
Right.
But the anticipation just heightens the terror.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's like, when you're home alone and you think you hear a noise
Yeah.
and your heart starts racing and every little creak and groan in the house just becomes so amplified.
Right.
That's what he captures.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
And the brutality of Annie's death, too.
Oh, my gosh.
It's just this stark reminder that no one is safe, not even the people who survived the previous rampage.
Right.
He subverts any expectation of like, okay, sequel, maybe we're safe.
We know what's going on, yeah.
We're back in Haddonfield. We know Michael.
Right.
No, he throws that out the window immediately.
It's rough, and it's really heartbreaking when you think about Annie's struggles, too, even in the first film, with the trauma that she went through.
Yeah.
It's like he's saying that some wounds just, they don't heal.
Yeah, they never heal.
And the past always has a way of catching up to you.
And as Michael is closing in on Laurie, their final confrontation at that abandoned shed,
Yeah.
it becomes less about physical violence at that point
Right.
and more about just this descent into the abyss of their shared badness.
It's terrifying. That entire sequence is like a masterclass in psychological horror.
Oh,
Because you've got Loomis, who's desperately trying to reach Michael, clinging to this belief that there's still something, some human inside that monster.
Right.
Meanwhile, Laurie is just teetering on the edge. She's tormented by this vision of a young Michael holding her captive.
Yeah.
It is so disturbing, that imagery.
It really is.
And you don't know if it's real or if it's all in her mind.
And that's what makes it so effective.
Oh, absolutely.
Zombies constantly keeping us guessing, blurring the lines between reality, nightmare, and just pure madness.
Yeah, it's a film that gets under your skin and it stays there.
Totally.
And as all of that tension just boils over, we get one of the most unsettling climaxes I think I've ever seen in a horror film.
Yeah.
Loomis meets such a brutal end.
It does.
Stabbed repeatedly by Michael. And just any hope he had for reaching that humanity beneath, it's just gone.
It's extinguished.
It's extinguished.
And it really serves as a catalyst for Laurie's final transformation.
Yeah.
You've got the police, they're riddling Michael with bullets.
Right.
But it's Laurie, seemingly free from those visions now, who delivers that final blow.
It's chilling.
It is.
That moment where she becomes a reflection of that evil that she's been fighting.
Yeah.
Because of the trauma, because of that shared bloodline.
Right.
It's heartbreaking, but it's terrifying at the same time.
It's both. And that final image of Laurie committed, she's in the psych ward, totally sterile environment.
Right.
She's wearing Michael's mask.
Oh, God.
And there's this chilling smile on her lips as she sees that vision one last time of Deborah and the white horse.
Talk about sending shivers down your spine.
Oh, yeah. It's an image that just stays with you.
Zombie just leaves us with so many questions.
So many.
Did she inherit that darkness? Was it always their destiny from the moment they were separated? Or was it just that trauma, that cycle of violence that finally consumed her?
And it's that ambiguity that makes Halloween the 2nd so haunting.
It really does.
And such an effective piece of horror.
It's not just jump scares.
No.
It's not just gore. He makes you confront something.
Right, the potential for that darkness that we all have inside of us.
Yeah, that's what makes it stick with you. It gets in your head.
It really does. It's a film that makes you think, it sparks debate.
For sure. Makes you think about nature versus nurture, legacy of trauma, what that line between sanity and madness really is.
Absolutely.
So if you are looking for a horror film that will stay with you, that digs deep into these characters
Yeah.
and leaves you with more questions than answers.
Halloween 7 it.
It's a must-watch, for sure.
Yeah.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive into Haddonfields and all its darkness,
Yeah.
be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more explorations into the films that keep us up at night.